Welcome to Nevada Newsmakers. On the broadcast today, the one, the only Howard Rosenberg for the whole show on an all-new Nevada Newsmakers.
Hello, is this D&D Roofing?
Yes, it is. How may I help you?
You did such a great job on my roof. May I speak to the owner?
I am an owner.
Oh, can I speak to your supervisor?
Sure.
How may I help you?
I love your work. May I speak to the owner?
I am an owner. We're all owners. Well, that's why at D&D we work so hard to keep your home safe and sound.
Oh, no wonder.
D&D Roofing and Sheet Metal. Local, employee-owned, here for you.
Retail's impact on Nevada's economy? Enormous. 8,600 businesses, large and small, employing 145,000 workers. And last fiscal year, retail paid tax on nearly $60 billion in sales. We're the Retail Association of Nevada. We support retail, we help it grow, and we mean business.
RANNV.org.
Take a look at Pro Group Management and see how your workers' comp requirements can be met head-on. By taking a proactive approach, Pro Group can assure that your company is meeting or exceeding state and federal standards. As you move forward in your industry, Pro Group moves with you, simplifying regulatory tasks, clearing the way so you can get the job done and look to your future success. Pro Group Management, workers' comp that works for you.
Early in the morning or throughout the night, professional truck drivers are on the job, serving you, safely moving freight that's crucial to our economy. From the oldest industries to our newest innovators, from the exotic to the everyday, trucks are everywhere, moving everything. Never afraid to embrace a future that makes Nevada and our nation stronger. Trucking moves America forward.
This is Nevada Newsmakers with host Sam Shad on No Holds Barred Political Forum. Now, from the Nevada Newsmakers broadcast headquarters, here is Sam Shad.
We're always delighted to welcome back to the program Howard Rosenberg. He has many titles. The one we're using today as a name key is former Nevada System of Higher Education Regent. He's also an entertainment critic, former Washoe County School Board member. Lots of places to go. So let's start out with Orson Welles and War of the Worlds, the radio show. Remember that?
Yes, I do, unfortunately.
So tell the audience, because there's a lot of younger people, like people in their 40s and 50s, who may not remember or know about War of the Worlds radio broadcast, what it was, what the public thought, and what the reaction was.
You have to understand that we did in those days what we do today. People don't watch television, they overhear it. When you come home, you turn on the television set, and it's background noise. If something piques your interest, bang, you'll sit down and you'll watch and you'll listen. In the olden days, we did that with radio, only it was so much easier because there was no locus. You had a radio in the living room, you had one in the bedroom, you had one in the bathroom probably. No big deal. Half the people that listened to that broadcast did not hear the beginning, where Orson Welles said, "This is a dramatization." He warned everyone, this wasn't real, this was a dramatization. But those half of those people that didn't hear the beginning heard only what was happening, and it was so real, they believed that we were actually under attack from men from Mars. It scared the hell out of the entire world.
Okay, so that's called hysteria, right?
To a certain point, it gets to a point where it becomes hysteria. And that's what happened, because people were calling people to make sure they were all right, you know, and that kind of thing. And, you know, some people knew that it was just, you know, a broadcast and told people this, which calmed those people down. But in a way, it's not unlike the contravirus today.
The coronavirus, right? And that was my point, which is you have national hysteria.
Yes, very definitely.
Okay, so what do you make of that?
Well, I can only talk about it from my standpoint.
Of course.
I don't watch the news anymore.
Because?
It's all hysterical. And I don't doubt what they're saying is true, but the way they're saying it mandates a certain response from public that you really don't want. I mean, there's one thing to give people information. There's another thing in telling them what you want them to know. And it just scares the living daylights out of me. I found out the only way that I get the news that I really want to get is I listen to it from about 15 minutes after the broadcast starts. The hysteria is out of the way at the end, toward the end of the broadcast, and I can hear news that's local and means something.
Okay, so you're listening to the weather, you're listening to the sports, and you're listening to the happy story at the end. So
Usually.
that means that your life is immeasurably better by not hearing about all the accidents and whatever.
Do I listen to the news about the virus? Of course, I do. But I don't listen to the evening news about it. I listen to the afternoon when it's a little bit more measured and they're not out to get the ratings.
An important point here. So, back in the late 1800s, when the New York Times was purchased by Adolph Ochs, his plan was, and that's what he carried on for many, many years, was to deliver all the news without fear of advertisers. So it didn't matter if he had a story that was against General Motors and General Motors was a big sponsor. He didn't care. He had the money to be able to do what he wanted to do.
Right.
Nowadays, you're absolutely right. It's all about whether it's ratings, clicks, online, or whether it's about selling digital copies of your newspaper or actual paper copies of your newspaper.
Sam, I worry about listening to a news station, a news broadcast, on a station that's owned by someone like Disney. Am I getting real news? I don't like Mr. Trump. I'm not saying he's a bad president or bad person or anything like that. I just don't like him. He's too much like me at times, makes me very uncomfortable. But sometimes his fake news, I begin to worry, maybe he's not all that far off. Not fake, but slanted in a certain direction.
I watched a program when I was on vacation a couple of weeks ago on an obscure channel that was rerunning for free old shows. And one of the old shows was Joan Rivers' afternoon talk show from 30 years ago.
Lord.
Okay?
Yeah.
This was before her prime time show, as I recall.
Right.
And her guest for the full hour, Donald Trump.
Oh my.
And it was fascinating.
Yeah.
And this is not a political statement for or against. This
No,
is
no,
just an
no.
observation. It was fascinating because he was young. He was in his 40s.
Yep.
He had just gotten separated from Ivanka, or divorced from Ivanka, and was with Marla Maples. He was talking about how Don Jr. was very affected by all the news because everything was so negative that he was
Sure.
apparently quoted as dating everybody. And that was bothering him and bothering his oldest son. The other children were too young to know.
To know it.
He was charming. He was attractive because his hair was mostly his, and he looked good. He was more soft-spoken than he is today. But a lot of his opinions were similar. The interesting point was that Joan Rivers, as far as the media was concerned, was in total agreement with him because she too had been attacked by the media voraciously.
Exactly.
So it was interesting, and you might be able to, I have no idea where you can find it, but you could Google the program.
Sure.
For those listening and watching that would like to see this. But it was really a terrific insight in the fact that 30 years ago, Donald Trump had a lot of the same ideas about business and trade, Middle East policy that he has today.
And his audience, us, the people, have also changed from where we were at that time. And some people come closer, some people go further away. I'm put off by his manner more than anything else. It seems like it's too off the top. You're the President of the United States. You need to give more thought to what you're saying, to be a little bit more careful, because it has ramifications that you don't always see. How many times have I said something that I wish I could call back?
Oh, I can remember. My favorite one was when Oscar Goodman said on this program that we should cut the thumbs off taggers because he was very upset about people tagging the freeway walls down in Las Vegas that had just been put together. Do you remember what you said?
I said something like he ought to be giving more thought. He ought to be thinking.
Okay, let me give you
Go
the
ahead,
paraphrase.
please.
Was it he should be using his head for more
Than
a
hat rack.
Which you then called and apologized to him after the fact.
Exactly, I did, because it was a cheap shot, and I know better. But there are times when you get caught up in the moment, President Trump, and you need to think before you spit it out. To Howard Rosenberg, who cares when you come right down to it? The President of the United States, very different thought.
And stepping back from the politics of the situation, it is very hard to unseat a sitting president.
Sure.
Number one. Number two, this country is divided in a way that very few of us have ever seen.
Right.
And there is probably 40 to 45% on either side that are loyal. And once again, this election is going to come down to that small minority of people who are undecided till the last 5 minutes.
It's fascinating to hear them talk about what's going on with Bernie Sanders now, because he's lost places that he got last time, and now they're blaming it on Hillary. It was because she was a woman that he was so successful. I don't know whether that's true or not, but context is vitally important to everything that we're looking at as we go.
Okay, and if you look on my notes here, the word that I wrote down was context, because that's what's missing in so much of the reporting that goes on.
You got it.
You made a point earlier where you said you're not sure that the news isn't true, but the point is the context. I did an interview with the head of University Medical Center earlier this week.
Yeah.
And he's the top guy in the state. They have the largest hospital in Southern Nevada. And we were talking about, you know, the coronavirus. And I said, and shouldn't every story about coronavirus start out with, wash your hands, if you're sick, stay home? The most basic things that people should be aware of. And that most people are not going to die, even if they get the coronavirus.
Exactly.
Back to our point about mass hysteria. Now, there's another thing I want to bring up on this topic, which is there are movie directors, Michael Moore being one of them, that specialize in a certain kind of camera movement that makes you uncomfortable when you're watching the movie.
Exactly.
Expound on that, will you?
You're used to looking at the world a certain way. When that is taken away from you and you're put into a situation where you're being manipulated and you know it but don't know it, that makes you exceedingly uncomfortable. It breeds hysterical response, and it does the kind of things that the news particularly shouldn't do. The news should be impartial, reported. That's the important factor here. How does one report? One does things dispassionately. One does things with as even-handed an approach as possible. So that when you're watching your news, are you watching it because you like the way it's presented, what it has to say, or the way it's saying it?
I think that you have to start with the fact that with people coming into your living room every day, that it's like a bartender. Everybody sells whiskey. Which bar do you go to? The one where you like the bartender or the waitress, right? And I think it's the same thing with your news. There are people you are comfortable with, people that over time you learn to trust. But if they're not delivering, then that's a different story.
But then a lot of times you don't know they're not delivering because that's all you're watching. I have friends who do nothing but watch Fox. No, that's not the way to do it. You need to watch one other broadcast so you have something else to compare it with, like I do. I watch Fox, but I watch other things to compare it with. That to me is very important.
And it's interesting that people, and I was just reading this article yesterday, that there are now broadcasters that are going far to the left of MSNBC because they believe that there is an audience for that marketplace. We'll see. It's been an interesting election cycle because, and I don't want to get too much into politics with you because that's not your field, but it's been interesting to see how the moderate center has grabbed back the election on the Democratic side.
You just said something that's very important. Politics isn't my field, but it's all of our fields, because it controls what it is that we're seeing and doing.
And how does it control it?
There's a reason for slanting a story a certain way. There's a reason for presenting things in a certain way. What is the reason? You have to figure out what it is that is intent and what is content. There's two different things here. And to understand the difference between the two is sometimes very, very difficult.
Okay, so that begs the question then, because I have some experience in time, you have more experience in time than I. When there were only 2 networks, because ABC came along as the latecomer, for people will be shocked to know that at that one time we really only had 2 serious networks in this country, which would have been NBC and CBS. CBS was in giant political battles behind the scenes. I mean, this is not really something new, is it?
No, but newspapers are the same thing, except we don't have newspapers anymore. We have sheets that have news on them, but they're not newspapers the way television stations have taken over and become news organizations. Sam, it's the most difficult thing in the world for me at 80 years old to try to explain.
Okay, let's take a break. We'll pause. You'll think of something when we come back.
Safety. We all think about it. You think about it when he buckles in, when you check your mirrors and put away your phone. RTC thinks about safety too. In fact, we create it. Center turn lanes mean fewer blind spots. Bike lanes keep cyclists and you safe. Roundabouts reduce injury collisions. And all these crosswalks are designed to keep families like yours safe. Safety is your priority, and it's ours too. Every day, in everything we do.
Ahern Rentals began as Signal Gas Station on Las Vegas Boulevard. Founder John Ahern grew the business by offering rentals. His son Don built on John's legacy, growing Ahern Rentals into the largest independently owned American rental company, with 89 locations in 30 states. Don also brought his experience and vision to equipment manufacturing with Extreme Manufacturing and Snorkel. Today, Ahern Rentals continues to bring its family values to a new generation. Learn more at ahern.com.
Hi, I'm Eric Robnett, owner of Home Energy Experts. Has this ever happened to you?
Honey, did you remember to turn down the thermostat?
Forgetting to set the temperature? Not fun. We can help. Our new smart thermostat keeps the temperature set for your comfort all by itself.
I'm feeling hot now.
To increase your comfort, go to homeenergyexperts.com for details. That's homeenergyexperts.com.
The signs and symptoms of cataracts can start out small with subtle changes in your vision. So don't wait. Be proactive and take your vision into your own hands. If you're experiencing the onset of cataracts or just have questions, contact your eye care professional or call Eye Care Associates of Nevada today. Dr. Hiss has years of experience specializing in the surgical correction of eye disorders and has completed over 84,000 vision correcting procedures. At Eye Care Associates of Nevada, we'll change the way you look at the world.
This is Nevada Newsmakers.
And back on Nevada Newsmakers, we continue our conversation with Howard Rosenberg, a man of every field. Okay, so I was talking to you about The Irishman, the Martin Scorsese movie.
Yep.
I was telling you that I was watching Goodfellas over the weekend, another one of his classic movies, and you were talking about context because we had discussed with both Harry Reid on this program and Governor Bob List their roles in the time frame of The Irishman. I said, you know, that I was rewatching Goodfellas. You brought up the point that people may not know the context of Reid and List, and I said, yeah, but they know the context of the mob, and you disagreed. Now disagree on the program.
Again, mob. What does that mean? Today, in today's context, what does the mob mean? Does it mean the mafia? If it means the mafia, whose mafia? Russian mafia? English mafia? Italian mafia? Where does this all come from? It all depends on how we've been brought up and what we think we know and what we're sure we know and how we interpret what it is that we're being given on the screen.
And you're absolutely right, because over time, this has changed dramatically. If we go back to the earliest incarnations of this, then you would have to say the mob, the mafia, La Cosa Nostra were Italian-based groups of criminals.
Right.
But I know in London in the late 60s, early 70s, I was a disc jockey in nightclubs, and most of the West End nightclubs in London were run by the Maltese Mafia.
Okay.
And there was the Israeli Mafia.
Okay, Sam, let me take you back even further.
Okay.
Let's go back to 1951. A film was put out called The Day the Earth Stood Still. Michael Rennie, Patricia Neal. It was a wonderful, wonderful piece of work. Robert Wise directed it. Now, Robert Wise is one of the best directors that has ever lived. I don't think anyone will ever disagree with me on that. I have shown that film in classes I don't know how many times. The response to it is always pretty much the same, but it major differences in other areas. Do you remember the movie?
I remember of the movie. I could not quote you the movie.
A spaceship comes to Earth. A robot comes out on the apron of the spaceship. It's all surrounded by, military. And this man walks out. The robot is perfectly steady. This man walks out, and what he's come for, we later find out, is to show the world that we can't continue to behave the way we've been behaving, which is war. And as long as we, kept it on Earth, everything is fine. But we're coming to atomic possibilities, which could be exported off Earth into the universe. And they cannot allow that to happen. We are behaving badly, and we have to start behaving properly. All right, so this guy brings a present for the president, but he wants to talk to all of the world leaders. And they don't want to talk to him. Each one wants to talk to him individually, but he doesn't want to do that. He holds out this thing, which we later find out is a thing that shows what life is like on other planets, and they shoot it out of his hand. He's taken to the hospital. The robot is perfectly steady, doesn't move, doesn't bend an inch. They take him to the hospital, and he decides that he's got to go out and see the world through the people's eyes that live on this planet. Okay, fine. So he goes out, he sees the world, he meets a lady, and you think there's a romance, but there isn't. She's a widow, and she has a boyfriend and a young son. And the young son takes him and shows him different places, different things. At the end of the film, he says, you have to start behaving yourself like responsible adults, or you will have to pay the price. And the spaceship takes off. The most famous line in any movie, I think, comes from that movie, because in case the robot is triggered by his death, this man's death, he needs to have the words Kleto Barada Nikto, stop him from destroying the Earth. Okay, fine. You got it all together. It works beautifully. I say to my students, who is Klaatu, the man? Who is he? He's a spaceman. He came from outer space. No. Context. 1951. Here is a man that has come from outer space. They kill him. We kill him. But the robot brings him back on the spaceship and brings him back to life. Who is this man? But what I'm looking for is he's Jesus Christ. Kids don't get it. 1 out of maybe 40 or 50 or 60 will get it. Then I say, when did you know this? When you just said that. No, you knew it long before then, only you put it back in your mind. Well, you know it because when he goes out, he takes a suit from the closet of the hotel room, of the hospital room that he's in. Okay? He's got the suit. It has a tag in it, who it belongs to. Who does it belong to? Mr. Carpenter. Hello.
And that's where
again, it's context.
And we have to leave it right there. We'll be right back.
Dimitri Prine here for Design Outdoor. At Design Outdoor, we specialize in all hardscapes, pavers, and walls you'll need for everything, from wonderful small yards to full-blown outdoor living. And we only refer the best contractors to make your vision a reality. Our store and backyard are located at 11600 South Virginia, just north of DeMonte Ranch Parkway. Visit designoutdoor.com or call us at 851-9499.
I'm men's rights attorney Marilyn York, and because I represent men in all family law matters, women often call me gender traitor, woman hater, and even disgusting. So why represent men and target myself with these offensive monikers? It's simple. Children with fathers in their lives are 6 times less likely to drop out of school, 15 times less likely to go to prison, and 5 times less likely to commit suicide. So ladies, you can hate me, but please love your children more than you hate their fathers.
Hi, I'm Dave Newman. Remember me? I used to be the house detective, and now I'm a realtor full-time at RE/MAX Realty Affiliates. A lot of people ask me, how's the market? You know what? It's fantastic. If you're even kicking around the idea of buying or selling, give me a call. Let's talk about it. Call me at RE/MAX Realty Affiliates and just ask for the guy who used to be the house detective, Dave Newman.
As you know, Reno is booming. Toll's development company is helping it grow with insightful design and development, building community with every project, adding beauty, adding excitement, emphasizing our shared humanity. Reno is becoming bigger. Toll's development is helping it become better, more livable, more enjoyable. To learn more, go to tollsdevelopment.com. tollsdevelopment.com.
This is Nevada Newsmakers.
You're always a fabulous guest, always
Thank you.
fascinating, always
Thank you.
bring up things I never thought of. And every question I had before I arrived here today went out the window when we started talking, which is the most fun interview. Thank you.
You're welcome, Sam.
And we'll be right back. A bird's eye captures its surroundings at different heights. At Brian Culpa Photography, we can make your imagination soar over buildings, parks, cityscapes, and beyond. Brian's images tell the story and get the job done. If you need a new perspective to tell your story, contact Brian today. Brian Culpa Photography. Experience the bird's eye view at brianculpaphotography.com.
Hi, my name's Marilyn Miner, and I'm sure you'd agree that Nevada's a very special place to live. I was born here, and my husband and I have raised our family here. I feel it's a privilege to live and work in the Truckee Meadows. I especially enjoy helping my clients reach their real estate goals. Sometimes the smallest details provide the greatest satisfaction. I'd be complimented to talk to you about your next move.
Call Marilyn Miner at Dixon Realty, 742-1280, or log on to marilynminer.com.
Safety. We all think about it. You think about it when he buckles in, when you check your mirrors and put away your phone. RTC thinks about safety too. In fact, we create it. Center turn lanes mean fewer blind spots. Bike lanes keep cyclists and you safe. Roundabouts reduce injury collisions, and all these crosswalks are designed to keep families like yours safe. Safety is your priority, and it's ours too. Every day, in everything we do.
Pro Group Management is the place where companies can find workers' comp solutions that are designed to meet their specific business requirements. As regulations evolve, Pro Group takes a proactive approach to clear the path to make sure your business stays ahead of the curve. Knowing your workers' comp program is optimized, you can focus on other important matters related to your growing business. Pro Group Management, workers' comp that works for you.
As always, you can watch Nevada Newsmakers 24 hours a day at NevadaNewsmakers.com. We'll see you on the next show.